Hi everyone, I'm Allie with the Potomac Bead Company, and I'm going to do a little product demonstration on one of our products. This is called the Easy Knotter, and what it's good for is making necklaces and designs where you have the silk cording being shown a little bit. So here you can see that there's spacing between the silk cording. It's hard to kind of eyeball it and get it just right. So the Easy Knotter is a great tool that you can purchase that makes it really easy, hence the name, the Easy Knotter, for you to do your little perfect knots there. The way that the Easy Knotter works is it has little measurements. So you can see here right along the bottom that it has the different measurements going from 1/4 inch increments, and it has this little peg here. The peg, you remove the top of it. That's what we're going to slide our thread on. We put that right back on, and we're going to pull a little bit. So to work with the Easy Knotter, you can use a bunch of different types of thread. The thread that I'm going to be demonstrating and using is doing silk cording. This is a Griffin silk cording. I've taken the whole thing off my card, and this is a size 8 Griffin silk in the beige color. And what I've done to start with is I've tied a double knot. So I have 2 little knots there. I'm going to be using a knot cover, or a pearl end, some people will call them. And that looks just like a little open clamshell there with a hook on it. And I'm going to slide that down onto my Griffin silk so that it covers up that little knot there. So it's going to cover up the knot that I'm working with. I'm going to leave that open, and I will use a little bit of glue at the end to glue that knot shut, so when you're looking at the end of the project, you have a nice little finished end there. But right now, I'm just going to keep it open. I'm going to tie my first knot right after, and that's going to keep that knot cover right in place. I do this by hand. You can do it with an awl. You can do it also on your Easy Knotter. You can take it on there, pull your knot after you make it right up next to your knot cover, slide it off the top, and give a little pull. That's going to keep my knot cover from coming off. And I'm going to slide on and get ready to do kind of my first bead. I'm going to keep my beads about 3/4 of an inch increments difference in spacing. So I'm going to start with that much. So I have my little knot that I tie, and I put my loop onto my Easy Knotter. I hold my crimp cover exactly at my 3, where I want it to be, my 3/4 of an inch. I make my knot there, and I'm going to pull it off then and pull it up and just give a little knot. That's going to be my first knot, and I'm getting ready to stick on my first bead. I'm using labradorite and some amethyst. I'm going to put my labradorite faceted 8mm on first. I'm going to let that drop down next to my knot. The second knot I do by hand. You can do it on your Easy Knotter. You can do it with a beading awl. You can do it with a knotting tool. It's kind of up to you. I find that it's easiest to do it with my hand to get it nice and tight. And I do that knot, and then I'm getting ready to get my spacing again. So again, I do my little knot here. I'm going to pull the whole end through, put that loop onto the Easy Knotter, pull nice and tight to get that loop. I'm going to hold, and when you hold and you put beads on, you want to make sure that you're holding right in the middle. So your bead's going to be in the middle of that measurement line that you're working on. So again, I'm working at 3/4 of an inch, and I want that bead to be right in the middle. I'm going to do my knot, and I have it pulled tight, and then I'm going to pull up, and pulling from both the top and bottom, give a nice tight knot. That gets my next knot in place, and I'm going to add one of my amethyst beads. I add my amethyst bead on, let that drop down next to my knot that I already have here, that I created. I'm going to do a following knot on the other side, pulling through, and just doing that knot by hand. And again, I'll demo how I'm going to get my measurement. I do my little knot by hand. I'm going to put that onto, that little loop onto the Easy Knotter. I'm going to put the bead right at the middle of my 3/4 of an inch there. Pull down and pull from both ends. Take it off my Easy Knotter and give a nice pull. And that's going to get my equal measurement, which is what you're looking for. You can switch it up and closer to the necklace. You can get the beads closer together. You can get them further away. That's up to you. And that's just a design element that you can pick from, and you can design it and say, oh, I want them to be 1/4 of an inch apart. But basically the main thing with Easy Knotter that I suggest is tying your second knot by hand, and that's going to get a little bit tighter. That first knot then is what you're really going to measure along the knotting board. So I'm going to put that on, and I'm going to put that knot again on, and I'm going to pull it up so that way it's halfway in between on that cord. And this is the most important thing that I think, is making sure that your bead, that you always are picking the middle point of your bead as your measurement, pulling both directions and giving a nice tight pull. I'm going to put another one on my amethyst on, and I'll demo it one more time for you. And then I'm going to continue with the same measurement the whole way along the project, and I'll show you how I end it as well. So I'm going to go in and do my second knot by hand and just get it nice and tight in there. One thing you do want to make sure with your silk cording is that your hands are nice and clean, especially if you're using a white cording, because it'll really come off as you're pulling these through. And again, I'm just going to make my knot. Instead of pulling tight, I stick it on my easy knotter. And get that right at 3/4 of an inch. And pull tight. And that's going to get that equal measurement going the whole way along your project. I'm going to continue doing this on the rest of the necklace, and then I'll show you how I'm going to end it. So now that I'm on my last knot, I've done my last knot, and I'm kind of moving my easy knotter off to the side, and I'm going to show you how I end my necklace here. So I've done my whole necklace. I did get a little bit closer in the very front of my necklace here. I cut down a little bit on the measurement, and it's really, really getting it nice and finished, and it's going to line up really, really nicely when you're looking at it. They're all going to line up right next to one another, and we're going to get ready to do the end. For the end, I want to make sure that I have one of my little knot covers here. So now I'm getting my clamshell ready to put on. I'm going to put my clamshell on through the back of the clamshell here. Let that drop down next to my last knot. And then I'm going to get ready to tie my knots. I tie these freehand. You might want to do it with a beading awl. The Easy Knotter tool is not going to help you in this situation to do the ending. So you're just going to do it by hand. Like I said, you can put a little reamer in there, or not a reamer, a little awl in there if you want, a little beading awl to get that knot closer. I tie one knot, and then I tie my second knot. My second knot is actually when I get closer. I put that under the first knot, and then pull nice and tight to make that nice and tight and finished. After I'm done with my knots, I put on a little dab of glue on each end. I'm going to glue the first end here, dab that and let that sit to the side. And then I'm going to pick up the second end, and I dab that with glue also. Again, letting that dry. After they dry, all I'm going to do is clip them down, and I'm going to close them up, and you can attach whatever clasp you want. So just on this one here, I think I'm going to attach a little lobster claw to it, so that way it gives it a nice little finished end. Once these are a little bit dry, you can go in with a wire cutters or a scissors, and I have a wire cutter sitting handy, so you can kind of dry them, give them a little clip close by the end here, and the glue will dry very quickly. I'm using super new glue. Once I have my glue dried, I'm going to close up on my little knot cover on each end, and then use this little loop here to attach whatever sort of clasp I want, a lobster or anything like that. You can attach a toggle, that's up to you. But there's a little project demonstration on the Easy Knotter. As you can see, when you pull the beads again, they're going to be nice and in line with one another. The measurement is going to be pretty close, near perfect when you're looking at it and when you're looking at those lines. So it's a nice little easy tool to use if you're going to have a lot of silk exposed on your project and on your necklace when you're working with it. And it's a nice way too to use just a few beads and really highlight those as well. So thanks a lot for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoy. We'd love to see you in one of our stores if you get a chance and you live by one. And also you can check us out on Facebook at thebeadco.com and find the local bead store that's closest to you as well of our shops. So thanks a lot for watching.